Hey guys, it's Sara Oehler from SoftFlexCompany.com. I have got the cutest little dusty pink kit for you today. I can't wait to show it to you. I'm going to show you how to make a pair of earrings and a bracelet using the kit. There is a super limited quantity on these because I put one of the check glass buttons in it. And so I was pretty limited in how many I could make based on how many buttons we had. But I will show you all about that today. And we also added some new head pins and ear wires to our website this week. And we have 20% off on all of our tools. So lots of good things to check out. I will be getting started shortly as soon as I see you guys have jumped on here. So thank you for joining me, those that jumped on right away. We do have some of the Resort Chic design kits available still too. Let me hop over here so I can see you, all you lovelies. Hello, everybody. We have some of the Resort Chic design kits still available. So if you haven't grabbed yours yet, you can still do so. There is a very limited amount of the pink bead strands. The blue sold out, but there are a couple of the pink still left if you want to grab those two together. I'm hearing rave reviews on this kit. People really love it. I'm sure Kristen will post some of the testimonials from what people are saying about this kit, but it seems like they're really enjoying it. And if you have one and you really like what's in it, if you could post your comment on this video, I think that'll help people know it's a good one to grab. It's a really fun color combination that we haven't done before. So I'm pretty excited to play around with it. Hi, Cynthia. Hi, Susan. Hi, Tony. It's so great to see all of you guys coming to hang out with me today. I have a dusty pink design kit that I put together. And the idea was that I wanted to be able to do one of my woven bracelets using the kit. And it's all started with this beautiful check glass button that came from a vintage button mold in the Czech Republic. I just fell in love with it. And then I got some beautiful rhodonite faceted gemstones that I'll show you up close to go along with it. And we're going to make a really fun woven bracelet today on the macrame board. I also have some really sweet little tiara cast charms that are in there to make a pair of earrings. This is a little bit of an ode to Mother's Day. It's also a little bit of an ode to my dusty pink Candy Cooper bracelet that I got recently. I thought it was so pretty. I love that. It's probably one of my favorite shades of pink, is just that really kind of soft, dusty colored pink. I think it's just so sweet and kind of perfect for this time of year, whether it's Easter, working into Mother's Day, spring. I just really love that color. So I thought it would be fun to share it with you. So we have a really small amount of kits because I put most of the kits together, or at least portions of the kits together myself, and then I have to base it on what I have. So the buttons I didn't have very many of, so it's pretty limited. If you want to grab one, you can get that in the shop at SoftFlexCompany.com. Let's flip over to my work table because I have a lot to show you guys today. We had some check glass buttons in our last live sale, and they all sold out. So that was really fun. We have a new batch of check glass buttons coming for our next live sale on SoftFlex live sale on June 1st. And so we'll have some more. I just got a peek at them today and they're really great. And I know you guys are gonna really love those. Okay, so I've already done this whole project. I'm gonna go back to the beginning and restart it, but using a different button. And that way it'll give you an idea of what it looks like to start the project. And then I can hop all to the way to the end and we'll finish that project off. So the kit is gonna come with 3 spools of beading wire. You're gonna get the white multi-diameter trio. So you're gonna get the 010, which is what I'm using to weave today. The fine, which is great for pearls and seed beads, and especially great in white because most pearls are cream or white colored. And then the medium, which is what I'm using on the outside of the bracelet today as the, what is that called? The warp threads. I think it's warp going down, weft going across. We'll ask Elena tomorrow. Merrick's Looms is going to be with us for a live beading party tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific time. And so she's going to have all the information on weaving. So in this kit, the Dusty Pink kit, you're going to get the 010, you're going to get the fine, you're going to get the medium, you're going to get a nice sized batch of rhodonite gemstones that are faceted, little rondelles. You're going to get this exact button, this beautiful pink button. And then we've got a findings bag in there. We've got those cute little tier cast charms. Oh, good. Susan says she got a couple of buttons from the last live sale with the black tubing, thinking about making a bracelet with it. Perfect. I love that idea. Oh, thank you, Diane. Diane's saying it's a cute bracelet. So we've got this cute little charm from Tiercast. There's 2 of them in there, so I'm thinking about making a pair of earrings with those. We've got some head pins, which are also available just for sale on the website as of today. Some jump rings and some crimps and some ear wires. So it's got a really nice little findings bag inside of there as well. And I think it's running about $25 for the complete kit. And of course, you can make your own design using the kit. I'm just going to give you at least 1 or 2 ideas for what I would make with the kit. And then you can decide what works good for you. Oh, good. Thank you, Robin. Robin said she just ordered the kit. I think you're going to like this one. It's really nice. I put a lot of thought into this kit. And I think it's really good. So I'm going to pull this off my macrame board. The tools on the website are also 20% off this week. So if you don't have a macrame board, you may want to grab one of those. So if you have to slide it off, it's easy. You just slide it off and then grab your bead stopper and then just come in with your bead stopper and hold that end. And we're going to go through the beginning of it first, and then we'll end this one off after, and then I can wear it. It's going to look so good with my dusty pink cowgirl bracelet that I got from Miss Candy. Okay, so let's start this out. We've got another button here. What I did for this bracelet, which I think worked really well, was I have about a 6-inch wrist. So you may need more or less wire. You can see how much wire is left over for me here. I would say you could probably easily do this with a 7-inch wrist, but if you're getting a little bigger, you might want a little extra wire. So what I did was I did 2 feet with the medium. So that's the thicker of the thickest of the 3 diameters that you're going to get in the kit. And I'm going to measure it out. I don't normally measure, but I wanted to be more precise on this one so that if you were to recreate my exact design, you would know what to do. So let's see. Catherine's asking, do you see us on YouTube, Sarah? Yes, Catherine, I do. I get to see all of your comments, which is so nice in this program. So I get to see everybody that's on both YouTube and on Facebook. And that is the best part. Okay, so I'm right about 24 inches in my medium. I'm going to cut that off. We also carry the 010 in black and satin silver. And so you can do this in other colorways. If you prefer to do your own version, you can definitely do it in a different color scheme. You could do the silver or you could do black for your colors. Okay, so now we're going to get out our very fine, just re-rolling my medium here. And I may not catch every question, but I do try to go back and catch them later. And I have a wonderful coworker here named Damien who will be posting some links as we go along. And then also he will try to answer any questions that you might have, so we can kind of keep up with things. Thanks for being here, Damien. Mr. Thomas usually helps me out, but he isn't feeling well today, so Damien hopped on in for me, because that's just how Softflex works. We are one big team, and we're all doing a little bit of everything every single day. I'm telling you. Okay, so I doubled it on the very fine. So I've got 2 feet on my medium. I've got 4 feet on my very fine. And the tricky part is I'm going to try to crimp right in the center of both of those wires, even though they're 2 different lengths. So I'm going to grab my 2x2 millimeter crimp tube, which will come in the kit if you get the kit. But if you're doing your own colorway, then you got to get the right size. These crimp tubes also come in other metal tones. We have them in gold filled, copper, and black oxidized. So some good options there. I think what I'm going to try doing, I'm going to try to do it a little different this time. I'm going to take my medium. So I strung both wires through, and then I'm going to go to the center, just about the center. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the very fine. I kind of fidgeted with it and tried to do it at the same time earlier. And I wonder if this will work better if I just kind of push both of these little wires in. We'll see. And then I can just pull the 2 ends all the way down until I've got my 2 wires meeting. Oh, and I forgot the button. So normally you would add the button first. Maybe that's why I did it in the center. Makes more sense now. I suppose I could add the button with a jump ring if I wanted, but I kind of like the security of having it on the Softflex. So I'm going to string both wires through. And then we're going to go through the crimps. I'm still going to do 2 at a time, I think, here. Let's do the big first and then the little. So we're going to set the littles aside here and pick up our bigs. Put the 2 ends together. String through the crimp tube. I was like, why did I do it that way last time? Oh, because the button was on there. Oh, yeah. Okay. And now I'm going to take my 2 little wires, find my 2 ends. Thankfully, you guys are always so patient with me. It is a 2x2 millimeter crimp tube, Susie. It is a 2x2, and it comes in lots of different metal tones and lots of different package sizes too. You can get larger package sizes. I think we only put 4 in our kit, but you can get them in 20s or 50s, all the way up to like 500s, I think. Okay, yeah. Catherine says she hopes everybody's having a good day. I hope you are too. And yes, Susie, I just wanted to note that you asked that question. And yes, it's 2x2 millimeter crimp tubes. Okay, so now that I've got my wires through, I'm going to make sure that this is loosey-goosey enough that this can kind of move around. I'm going to get all my wires together in a bundle here, and then I'm going to come in with my crimping pliers and crimp it down. So these are my magical crimping pliers. They have a little divot in them where that crimp tube in this particular size fits just perfectly. You want to find the spot where that crimp tube just kind of sits inside the plier, let it sink down in there, and then compress. The first time you should get what looks like a little 4-corner square, and then we're going to turn it on its side. And we are going to compress in those 4 corners. And then we're just going to gently go around it. You don't want to be too rough on this because you've got a really delicate wire running through here. The 010 is only 7 strands of stainless steel, and it has a very thin nylon coating. So we want to be careful that we're not cutting through that wire with the edge of the crimp, and just be mindful, you know, go around it several times, but you don't have to use an extreme amount of force on it. Okay, and then once I've got that all kind of settled out, I'm going to get these wires out of the way so I don't confuse myself because I know that's what's coming next. I'm going to take my button and I just kind of slide it into the top of my macrame board. I have that notch kind of big from using it multiple times. If you don't want to do it in the middle, that's okay. You can do it on a side if you use your macrame board for other things and you don't want it to start slipping out. I've just kind of made this notch extra big and it almost always fits my clasp or button or whatever it is that I am working on. Now these strands didn't need to be this long, the mediums. I made them this long because I wanted to be able to slide them into the bottom notches on the macrame board. So I'm going to be able to just kind of keep track of them. Just makes life easier. And that way they're all in place. You can see the wire kind of comes out underneath. I really don't need that long of a piece for my bracelet per se. I've got a lot of extra wire here, but it just makes it easier when you're doing your weaving if you've got a little bit of extra wire on the bottom that you can kind of anchor down. Yes, we sell the macrame board, Lori's asking. Yes, we do. Oh, great. And Damien's got a link for you. I do not speak Spanish. I'm sorry. So that's not one of my many talents. Okay, so now we're going to kind of play with our wires here and figure out the best way to do this. So usually what I do, actually, why don't we keep that kind of up a little bit and in the middle. I split my wires where they naturally fall, the two 010s. And then what I'm going to do is take my first wire on the left and I am going to bring it under my big wire on the left and through the center and just hold on to it. And then I'm going to take my wire, my thin wire on the right. I'm going to put it under this wire on the right side. And then after I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and nab my first bead by stringing my left wire through, or excuse me, my right wire and my left wire through. And then I can just tug, tug, tug on both ends. You want to be really careful with the soft touch that you don't kink it. It just is, it's a wire. It's so it's not gonna not kink if you pinch it. So just take your time, pull the wire slowly until it comes down to the center. I was playing around with seeing if I could use my stand over here to get a little more height on this, but I don't think I can very easily. Let me see if I put my bottle back here, if I can do a couple of rows. Get my camera over just a little more where you can see it a little more closely. So I'm going to take my left wire, go under my left. This is why they call it warp and weft, right? So you don't get confused. I'm going to go under the left side here, and then I'm going to take my right wire and I'm going to go under the right side. So underneath, bring it to the center. And now that I have both wires in the center, I'm going to pick up one of my rhodonite beads. I'm going to string from the left. I'm going to string from the right. And then I'm just going to pull. And every time I go under that thicker cord, what's happening is it's wrapping one loop around it on the outside, and then that connects it. So I can then tightly make my wrap. Are you guys seeing that okay? You can totally double wrap the soft flex wire. Yeah, you would just do a longer length. Catherine's asking if you can double wrap. You would just do a longer length and maybe double it if you want to wrap around twice, triple it if you want to wrap around more than once? Ooh, that's a good question. Robin's asking, can you use the Kumi Hemo board for this? I think you could. I mean, it just helps because it's kind of holding it down. I haven't tried that, but it's a similar material. So possibly, you could possibly do that. Are you guys seeing how it's working okay? I'm going to do one more just to make sure we got pretty good visual on how to do it. And then we'll finish off the bracelet and move on to earrings. So I'm taking my left underneath the left wire, and it's kind of hard to show because it wants to slip around here. There we go. And then I'm going to take my right underneath the right wire. Loretta says, oh, just joining. What are we making? We're making a bracelet today. Oh, good. Lydia's seeing it really well. Thank you, Lydia. And then we're taking the left wire, stringing it through one direction, and the right wire, if I could see it, I'm at such an awkward angle. The right wire, stringing it in the other way, and then we're going to pull both wires together. And again, if I really yanked on that, that would kind of kink the wire. You just kind of want to play with it and then pull it tight. And there we go. We keep going with that pattern. Now, the kit only has the rhodonite gemstones, but you could totally add in a crystal or something that looks similar in size or shape. You could do multiple different kinds of gemstones. You don't have to just stick to what's in the kit. The kit was just intended to make it easy for you. So if you grab the kit, you can make it just like me, or you can add in lots of other colors as well. Susan is asking, is medium the thickest of soft flax? No, we actually have a heavy diameter as well. It is the thickest in this particular kit and in our multi-diameter trio, which is what I put into the kit. I think medium might be the thickest in white. I feel like we don't have white in our 024 heavy, but we do have 024 heavy in antique brass, copper, satin silver. I feel like there's another color in there that I'm not thinking of. Black. I think we have it in black. But great questions. Oh, these are all great questions. Okay, so let's do one more since we've had some people join us. Yes, Catherine says, can you do it one more time, please? Yes, I can do it one more time. And then we will jump to the end at how we crimp off the end to make the button closure. Okay, so I'm going to bring you in. Let me see if I can get just a little less awkward for myself here. All right, I think I did it. We'll see. Okay, so I'm going to take my left wire and I'm going to string it under my left medium wire. So it's underneath this thin one is going underneath this big thick one. And then I'm going to take my right thin wire and I'm going to string it underneath my left thick wire and grab it in the center. So I still have my wires on the same side they came from. They're just underneath the bigger wire. And that's what creates that little wrap around the outside. I'm going to string my right wire. Oh, I just lost my bead. I'm going to string my right wire through the right side of my bead. And I'm going to string the left wire through the left side of my bead. So in opposite directions. And then I'm just going to gently tug to the center. And then that adds it. Pretty good? Did everybody see that pretty good now? And if so, then I will start to move along. Let's look at the faraway version. So this is how I would normally, we'll do it one time down here with the full board. this is how I would normally be doing it, would be flat on my surface. And then I would take my left wire and string it under my right, grab it, and my right wire underneath my right, oh, lost it, underneath the right thick wire. And you can get going pretty quickly. I did that whole bracelet pretty quickly right before the live show. You kind of get in a pattern and a comfort of where to grab and what's going to be where, and it just sort of comes together. We're going to see a project from Elena at Mirix Looms tomorrow, right here on the Softflix Company Facebook and YouTube page. And it's going to be kind of similar to this, but done on a Mirix loom. And you might find that that would be a really great way to do this type of project, even with Softflex. I think she's using a leather cord on the outside and maybe some soft touch for the weaving. But you could definitely do the Softflex around the Mirix loom as well, which would be fun to try out. So that kind of gives you an idea of what that looks like on the overview. Let's move on to the finished piece and how to finish it off. I'm just going to pull that off. So this is the button that actually comes in the kit and matches the beads. I think it's going to be super cute when it's done. So I'm just going to place this back in place. I'm kind of, actually, I don't even need to. What I did was I'll do it just so I can talk about it, I guess. What I did was I have a 6-inch wrist, so you can see the button goes a little above the 0 mark. So it's close to 1 inch on its own. So I went all the way down to right past 6 inches. And when I measure that on my arm, it looks like a really nice size for me once I get that button closure on there. I may have even made it just a touch too big. So if you're doing it on one of these macrame boards, I would suggest doing the beadwork down to about the size of your wrist. I might even take 1 bead off so I'm closer to 6 inches. And I think that'll be about right in size. So we're going to take just 1 bead off here. Okay, so one thing I always like to do at the ends here, and I guess maybe we can just go ahead and do that. If I've got 4 wires that are different lengths, it can be quite annoying. So I'm just going to come in with my cutters. I know I don't need that wire anymore, and that'll just make my life easier when I go to crimp. So I'm going to hold on to all 4 wires, and I'm going to crimp using, I'm going to go in using my 2x2 millimeter crimp tube. Now, I don't know if I can fit, oh, one thing you want to make sure, keep your weave going here at the end. Sometimes I will double wrap that end, and I didn't do it this time, but you just want to make sure your wires are wrapping around so that your bead doesn't want to pop out of its spot. So that's what I'm doing, is just kind of wrapping those, and then I'm going to re-slide them inside that crimp. There we go. And there we go. And that should help it to stay in place a little bit better. Okay, so now the trick is I want to get my button loop the right size. And I'm not sure, I don't know if I put this many wires through a 2x2 crimp. If you don't feel like you can fit it, don't worry about it. You can always double crimp. And so what that looks like is you go ahead and you have all 4 of those wires in there. You go ahead and get your magical crimpers, and you just go ahead and crimp that off. Just crimp it all together. And then we'll crimp just 1 loop after that. And we'll have just a double crimp there on the end, but these because of the magical crimping pliers, they look like little metal beads, and it's no big deal. So at this point, I can go ahead and trim off my little ones. So I'm not going to use one of those, and I can trim off one of my big ones. It doesn't really matter which one. You just want to get in nice and close to your crimp tube and trim it. Then you're going to string one more crimp tube, again a 2x2 millimeter crimp tube, and take your wire back in, and we're going to just crimp right next to that last one. But the trick is we want to get the right sized loop that is going to fit over our button. Yes, you can always replay this. Our videos stay on Facebook or on YouTube if you want to replay it. So there we go. And that's going to fit over the top. You don't want it too loose or it'll come undone really easily. You don't want it too, you don't want it too loose. You don't want it too tight that it's not going to slide over it. So if you make it too loose, it'll also become too big of a bracelet. So I think maybe right there is my sweet spot. And I am going to try to get my wires side by side so I get a nice straight connection there. If you want to seed bead this end, you totally can to add a little bit more of something to it. I'm just kind of going for it straight away, and there we go. Crimp right next to it and then cut this off as close as you can. And then this is your clasp on your bracelet. Fun, easy. It's kind of a nice little two-tone design. But like I said, you could also throw some crystals in there. I think like a 4mm crystal would fit really nicely, or crystal rondelles would be really pretty. You could throw some metallics. You're using Soft Flex and Soft Touch, so they're marine quality stainless steel beading wire. So they're really strong, so you can add all sorts of things in there and it's gonna be pretty tough. So this is available in our dusty pink earring and bracelet kit. I'm gonna make a pair of earrings to match it now too, if you wanna stick around for that. I'm gonna get a little space for myself here. I'm gonna open up that kit. Thank you for all the really sweet comments I'm seeing. Susie said, what a beautiful design. And I see Brenda is gonna catch us later. What size were the beads? That's a great question. Maybe Damien can look and see if we have a size on the beads in the description. I think they're about a 3mm. But I'm not quite sure. Kristen says, that's pretty. Love the dusty pink color of the button and the beads. I do too. It's one of my favorite tones of pink. Thank you guys for all the very cool, awesome comments. And yes, Catherine, watch that replay if you need to. Oh, good. Catherine says, I love that. I'm going to try this. Oh, you don't have the size noted. Okay, well, I think they're about a 3mm. I will look and see if I can find out on the invoice after, and I will post it in the comments after the live video, so you know for sure. So if you're making it on your own, you know what size to grab. Okay, so these head pins are kind of special today. I've been talking about how we found all these findings in a cabinet in our packaging room. And a lot of them we ended up putting into our outlet because we just didn't feel like they were quite the quality that we like to carry. But I just love these head pins. So we put them into general stock. But I do want to warn you, some of them will come kind of wobbly like this one. And all you're going to need to do is clean it up with like a pair of nylon jaw pliers or whatever it is that you use to straighten out your wire. You may need a pair of jaw pliers too. Maybe in the kit, they probably already pre-did this for you, I imagine. But if you buy just like the regular new head pins on the website, they may have a little bit of a wobble to them. We're selling them one piece at a time. This is new for Soft Flex, but we wanted to cut down on our packaging to make a smaller footprint. And so now instead of having to get, you know, a package of 10 or a package of 20, we're letting you pick how many you want and then packaging it to your needs. So you're going to see us doing more and more of that as time goes on. Let's see what Fayetta is saying. Could you put seed beads along the sides to cover the Soft Flex wire? You absolutely could. Yes, you could string a seed bead along the side. I know a lot of bead weaving does that. I don't mind the Soft Flex wire because I'm Miss Soft Flex. So I kind of like having it show and it doesn't bother me, but I think you could definitely probably do a seed bead option on the side. That's a very good point. And yes, Debbie says, can you please help me understand the difference between the sizes of wire? Oh, that's a great thing to talk about today because this kit has so many different sizes in it. It's got our very fine, which is the thinnest diameter that Soft Flex carries. It only comes in our Soft Touch and our EconoFlex. And for Soft Touch, it's for stringing very small gemstones, embellishing, weaving, and crocheting. So that's why it worked really well for making those tight corners on this bracelet. It's very flexible like a thread, but it's only 7 strands of stainless steel. So it's a very micro braid with a very thin nylon coating. So it can handle things that are really abrasive like mineral, metal, glass, the things that you're going to use on the thicker diameters of Soft Flex. But there's a time and a place where this just works really well. And there's lots of beads that have such small holes. You just unfortunately can't even fit them on a fine 014. Like rubies, sapphires, emeralds, diamonds, they often will drill them with such tiny holes because they don't want to take away from the weight of the bead. And so you end up having to string them on a very fine Soft Touch. It's way better than stringing it on a thread, but it is only 7 strands of steel. So it's a little bit more, it's stronger than a thread, but weaker than our thicker diameters of Soft Flex. 014, so 0.014 inch is a 21 strand beading wire. And it is for soft materials, pearls, really itty bitty stuff. So again, those tiny gemstone bracelets that often have pretty small holes, you can usually fit them on the 014. Seed beads, just things that are very lightweight and not abrasive. Soft Touch doesn't come in a lot of colors. Soft Touch only comes in the white and black in the very fine. And that was because we had our diamond dealer manufacturers were asking for it. But all of the colors actually come only in Soft Flex or in our EconoFlex, which is our craft wire, basically a craft beading wire. Okay, and then finally, out of these 3, medium is the most commonly used of all of our diameters. It's our all-purpose glass, mineral, and metal. This is where you're going to be able to intermix a lot of different materials. Like 80% of freshwater pearls will fit on medium. And then you can mix them in with check glass and Swarovski crystals or Preciosa crystals and gemstones. So it's a really nice all-around diameter that'll fit a small hole but handle things that are pretty abrasive. It is a 49 strand, so it's a 7x7 bundled braid of stainless steel inside of it with a white nylon coating. And it has a pretty good size test strength. And that isn't just 26 pounds of beads, that's 26 pounds of action. So that would be like a 26-pound fish running down river might snap this wire. That's how strong it is. It's very strong, but very flexible. And then the one that I don't have here is heavy, which is our 0.024 inch diameter. And that's good if you're doing a really hunky, chunky bracelet, eyeglass holder, lanyards, things that get a lot of day-to-day use and wear and tear. Let's see what other questions we've got here. You guys are giving me such good questions today. Robin, I love that. Robin says she loves showing off the soft flex wire. Me too. And let's see, Kristen says, got the bead size, 4mm diamond cut faceted rondelles. Thank you so much, Kristen. And I'm trying to see if there's any other questions I have missed. Catherine says, can you do the bracelet with any size of soft flex? You could. You could definitely do medium or heavy on the outside. I think the 014 is maybe doable in replacement of the 010, but it would be a little tricky because you have to fit both wires through your bead. And so that might be a little tricky to get the 014 through both directions. But you could probably manipulate the diameters and use different diameters for this project, I would think. Pam's saying that she uses medium a lot and loves it. Yeah, most of the colors that you see us use, those come in the medium. And we have a question about the button. This button is not available outside of the kit. We have been hosting button trunk shows in our live sales. We get about 12 to 15 different styles at a time. And this was in our last trunk show, and I stole all of them for this kit. So we're all sold out of those except for what's in the kit. But we will have a brand new batch of buttons coming up in our next live sale on June 1st. So it won't be that one, but it'll be a new batch of new check clasp buttons that are really special and unique and fun to work with in the same way. And in fact, that other button that I was using was one of the other buttons that we've had in a previous live sale. And I could see this being really sweet with black beads or silver beads and black wire, or gold beads and black wire, making like kind of a metallics look would be really fun with this button. So many good questions today. Okay, I'm going to jump on doing some earrings next. And so I was going to use these tiara cast parts. And I was definitely thinking a lot about Mother's Day and just spring as I was putting this kit together. And so that was sort of my inspiration. Thinking about using my head pin in a way I had used it before. And it basically was like a loop around. I'm wondering if I can figure out how to do that again. I'm feeling like I would need at least this much wire. So I'm just bending, and then I'm going to go around because I'm actually going to come around with that piece. But first I'm going to have to slide my finding onto it. And before I go too far, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to, because I'm the queen of not measuring, I'm going to measure this. I am. Or at least make two of them the same size. Lord help me, right? Have a little bit of preparation here. And that one's going to end up a little bigger anyway. Let me manipulate it a little bit. The deal about earrings is you want them to be similar. And that's always kind of my problem with my spur of the momentness. Okay, so that's probably good. So I'm just going to slip this on here, actually, just get it over and done with. And then I can come in here. I'm going to wrap this around. One thing I want to do before I get going too far is I'm going to straighten this up so that it's matching. And then I'm just going to hold on to this, and I'm just going to do a quick wrap. So I'm getting a connection. I'm not loving how that turned out, but I can kind of play with it. I don't believe in mistakes, and I think that's why I'm able to do these live shows, because I feel like there's always these kind of fortunate accidents. Things happen for a reason, and maybe it's to learn how to make this an oval shape, or maybe it doesn't turn out and I do it all over again. Who knows? So you can throw on a couple of these beads. You can do just one. You can add some beads from your own stash, whatever it is that you want to do. And then here's how to make just like your basic wire wrap loop that I would normally make. And that is to bend the wire toward you, bend the wire over the top, bend under, and then you get kind of that perfect little loop there, and then bend around. And then you can wrap it around as many times as you want, and then snip. And then I just want to kind of straighten this out, so it's all facing the right, same direction. And then I'll add my ear wire, which went where? There it is. My ear wire. With that little bobble kind of hanging out in the front. And then I just have to make another one just like it. And if you don't like this oval shape, you can definitely try something else too. You can even just use the wire if you want to. You can just take your piece of soft flex beading wire. I would use the medium. Cut off a little piece here. String your 2x2 millimeter crimp tube on. String on your heart. And string back into the crimp tube. And then get your crimp side by side, or your wires side by side inside the crimp. Use those magical crimpers. These are 20% off this week. If you want to grab a pair, now is a good time. All of our tools, including that macrame board, cutters, chain nose pliers, round nose pliers, it's all 20% off this week at softflexcompany.com. Make my little round bead. Snip. So I guess the moral of the story is don't be afraid to fail and learn something. And things will not come out perfectly every time, and they're not meant to be. Things aren't meant to be perfect. I've been talking to my little 6-year-old a lot about that, especially when it comes to art. She'll say, well, it's not perfect. And I'll say, well, what is perfect? There is no such thing as perfect, and perfect for me may not be perfect for you, you know, so be okay with trying something new. I'm going to go ahead and crimp. You can see I'm facing that ring so that it's going the same way as my earring finding. And that way, when I attach that, when I attach my ear wire to it, it'll face out so we can see it. And then I'm just going to cut this, being as careful as I can not to cut my soft flex beading wire. We will add our ear wire. And we put new ear wires on the website today too. I don't know if I mentioned that. They're also just in pairs. So we will package based on your needs. So if you want 3 pairs or 7 pairs or 8 pairs, it should all come in one package now, instead of getting a package for every single pair or having to buy a really gigantic package. We felt like that was just an easier way to go about it. So there's another earring idea. So I will be probably doing an Instagram reel after this. If you want to go check that out on our Instagram page. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but it's usually a 30-second sped up 4-speed design and doesn't take long to watch, and might be just a little inspiration piece using some of the same components that I have here today. I'll also post a picture of what I made so that you can take a closer look at it in just a little picture. Sharon says we need a sermon on that. I think you mean being perfect. Yes, I think we can all use that. I think it's hard, especially as adults. I think it's hard when we do things new to not want to be perfect at it immediately, but everything takes practice, and that's important. Let's see. Debbie says, I missed some parts. Do you have more of those hearts you're using? They are in our dusty pink earring and bracelet kit that just went on sale on the website. There were only 39 of them, and that's really low quantity for us compared to our regular kits. So if you want one, make sure you grab one as soon as possible. Debbie says, do you have a tutorial on making the loop you just did so I can look at it over and over again until I get it right? Ooh, you know what, Debbie? That's what I'll do for my Instagram reel today. Are you on Instagram? That would be a great way for you to see it and be able to watch it over and over again. And I'll just focus on that so that we can get it right. Let's see. Do you guys have those headpins? Yes, Catherine, we just put those headpins on the website for sale in singles. So if you want 10 of them, make sure you mark you want 10. If you want 20, tell us you want 20. They will package it to your order. The buttons were a hot sale on the last live sale. We sold out of the buttons. Yeah, they were in demand for sure. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you so much, everybody. Oh, Debbie has one more question. What is the best cutting tools for wire? I have been using these Italian precision cutters. These are the best on our website right now. I have had other cutters that I've liked better in the past, but they cost twice as much as these. And in fact, now the reason why we don't carry them is they cost 3 times as much as these. And we felt like it was just too much. These are right about $30. I'd say they last me about a year with a lot of heavy cutting. I do a lot of cutting and it's stainless steel wire. I'm probably about due for a new one and it's been about a year. So that's pretty good for me. $30 per year on cutters is pretty good because of the amount of stainless steel that I cut. But I have had pairs before that last longer that I spent more on. I think that's it. Thank you, everybody. I see lots of beautiful comments coming through. Thank you, Gail. And thank you, Catherine, for your warm gratitude. And we will be here again tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific time on Facebook and YouTube with Elena from Mirix Looms. And she will be showing us some wonderful projects, and we'll be just talking a little bit about her business. And then they do some kits using soft touch beading wire. And so we'll talk a little bit about that as well. It'll be both Kristen and I, and it'll be a live beading party. So I hope you guys will join us. And I think we're going to have a really good time. And I think you're going to learn a lot. So we're pretty excited to share Elena with you. She's really a gem of knowledge. And her mother is the founder of Mirix Looms, and she just grew up with it, and she just has a lot of creativity and a lot of great ideas to be able to share with you. So we'll see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific. That's 4 p.m. Eastern, and we'll have a great time. In the meantime, check out the kit on our website, which is softflexcompany.com. Bye, everybody.